Greetings, everyone. This is Lamar. I'm Lamar Phillips. And excuse me up front, I'm going to do what I can to keep the lighting out of your face based on the reflection. But in coming up with the language acquisition model that makes the most sense, I guess I'll begin with the ending in mind. And many of the models make sense along the way. And of course, it's an exercise in futility almost trying to find the one that works because from straight out the box, the behavioral model makes sense because it relates to many other ways that I've learned, especially about teaching, teaching in the arts, teaching with dealing with behavior modification and things of that nature. However, it does have its limitations. Of course, repetition and influence of others does make sense, especially if you think of little children, babies and children. But of course, the limitations are noted. But I'll jump straight from there. Also, I saw a great importance was the social interaction model because it does make sense that the more that people interact, the more the children interact, they will imitate one another, that they have more stimuli to work from. However, like I said, I'm going to begin with the end in mind, and I'd have to say I have more of affinity for the contemporary language models. The information processing model kind of takes into account everything already. It's a little bit. It doesn't go. The model itself doesn't go into deep as to the initial parties where someone will be imitating, where the stimuli come from, but instead just gets into the fact, much like a working computer, and we're much more than that, but gets into the fact that we do take in stimuli, and this will be for language as well, but they mean in general, and that stimuli goes into our sensory memory, into our working memory, and then is translated into iconic to our eyes or echoic. And when that happens, we create visual or phonological imagery one way or another. I think that when you look at it from that perspective, and sometimes they even have to be put together by a central executive functioning, but I think when you look at it from that perspective, it encompasses a lot more all at the same time. Each one of the other models tries to be more specific. I like that this one helps us to know that we have either explicit or implicit memories and imagery to help us come up with language. And so, whether we see it or hear it, one way or another, it comes back for us to be able to process. While we're processing it, it helps us to be able to use language one way or another. I think that looking at it from that perspective, it's not that it's more empirical. It's just that it doesn't limit how or where the stimuli comes from. It's just there to explain it either way. But it is close, and I'm going to stick with that, the information processing model. But I can see how even with that, that's more of the technical part of it, the whys in a way. But the emergentist model also, because it has continuous development, and we don't have as much evidential data, but at the same time, because we continue to evolve as a society, more words are being put into language, more perspectives are being used all the time. So just as we emerge as people, language continues to emerge. And I'm going to go specific with children, but even if someone has developmental delays, I could see how looking from that perspective would be quite helpful. So, I do understand the foundational thought process behind the behavioral model. I understand the biological and experiential and interactive nature of the social interactionist model. But if you combine all those together, you're still going to have to process the information one way or another. So I think the information processing model is just a different way of expressing the same things that the others have already given. So I'll stick with that.